Hello. So welcome to Village 88's training program. So I'm Michael Choi. I'm the founder, and I also run the company as the CEO. And you may have watched my video as I introduced about Coding Dojo. But anyway, welcome to this training program. We're glad that you're starting. And I just wanted to say good job for making the commitment to start this training. The training is going to be very rigorous, and I'm going to tell you more about how to prepare so that you can get the most out of this course. But most of all, I just wanted to welcome and congratulate you for being where you are today. I just also wanted to give a little bit background about the training program, about me, as well as about Village 88. So some of this information you may already know, but I founded Village 88 back in about 2009. So it was a while ago. And back then, I started Village 88 with the idea that I wanted to start multiple tech companies. But for every single startup that I would start, I need engineers. And I also need other people to successfully start a company. So I thought, you know what? I wonder if I can create a training program and have people go through this training program and have them successfully able to be engineers for my companies. So anyway, that's kind of how Village 88 began. And in the beginning, I hired a lot of people in the Philippines. In fact, they were all from the Philippines. And initially, I built a training program, trained them, and that training program has evolved for a few years. And then later, in about 2012, is when I thought, do you know what? We built this training program, and it took us a few years to iterate, but we have a good training program, and I wonder if people in the US would be willing to pay for this training program. So I put out an ad, and that's kind of how Coding Dojo began. So once Coding Dojo seemed to be a successful program, we spun that off as a separate company. Before, it was just run as a Village 88 training program, where the project name was Coding Dojo, but later we spun that off as a separate company. And Coding Dojo, I ran that as a founder and a CEO for many years. And I've trained a lot of people over the years. So now I'm proud to say that a lot of my students that I've taught work as senior software engineers at Google, Facebook, Airbnb, eBay, Microsoft, you name any Fortune 100 companies. And some of my students that I've directly taught or indirectly taught are working in these companies. But let's take a backward step a little bit. What prompted me to start the training program? And the reason is quite simple. In the US, and this is back when I was in San Diego at the time, I struggled in finding good engineers. And that problem of finding good engineers still exists today. But let me tell you, back in 2009, when I'm looking for software engineers, I would put out an ad. And I would say, I'm looking for software engineers who understand certain language, who understand object-oriented programming, MVC framework. I need them to understand how to use Git or another version control. I need them to understand how to set things up in deployment, staging, or server. And I need them to be able to understand how to manage and deploy applications in the cloud. So I would put out a job ad. A lot of people would apply, but most of them do not have what I'm looking for. So what I ended up doing, and this is back in 2009, was I had to hire CS grads in the US, and I would pay them full salary, and I would train them because they just did not know the things that I needed them to do in the real world. That problem still exists today. You look at any job ads out there, and there are lots and lots of keywords. And these are the keywords that employers are looking for. Now, that list of what is expected of software engineers has not been reduced since 2009. Since then, there are additional things that companies are expecting CS grads to understand. So on top of all the things I've mentioned, now for web development, yes, They expect you to know HTML and CSS, of course, but they now expect you to know how to do responsive design. Now they also expect you to know how to use Docker, containerization. They also expect you to understand how to do test-driven development. And sometimes they also expect you to learn and know advanced concepts such as continuous integration, continuous deployment. They of course expect you to use how to use Git, which has become the standard, and how to do pull requests, how to resolve merge conflicts, and all these list of things. The list of things that are expected of software engineers has really grown. Now it's not enough for you just to know front end. They expect engineers to know all these various backgrounds. So now you look at what are the skill sets that the universities are teaching, and what are the skill set that these companies are looking for, including companies such as Village 88, and there is a big disconnect. Huge disconnect. So if you don't have these skill sets, you may go and you may apply for jobs either in the Philippines or elsewhere, and you're going to find that you won't hear back a lot because you just don't have a lot of the keywords that they're looking for. And it's going to take you a lot longer. A lot of times you may just give up because a lot of the companies may not just give you the opportunities that you're asking. And all of that really is because there's a gap between what schools teaches and what the industry needs. And that gap was there in 2009, is still there today. So what is the purpose of the training? Most of this training will be taken by CSIT grads. So you either have a CSIT degree in the Philippines, or you are hired by Village 88 already because you're going to be one of our teachers or marketers or product managers or different roles, right? There's a combination of different groups of people who are going to take this training. And we plan on doing this training at least once a year, so that every year we have these trainees who go through our program, and we hope to hire some of the best students who graduate from this program also. But anyway, going back, there is that big gap on what software engineers need to be able to be successful at their job or to even get the job. So our purpose in offering this program without charging our Filipino students is multiple folds. One is that I mentioned, we want to hire, if you do this program well and we feel that we are a good fit, we may give you a job offer to work and join Village 88. But even if you don't, even if we have so many trainees and we can't hire all of them, second, we want to have a contribution in helping you improve your skills so that your resume would still look better and you can go and find a job elsewhere. And later, if we have some more openings in Village 88, we hope to reach out to you for that opportunity also. But anyway, think about that. Think about, the keywords that I mentioned, and what percentage of that are you already familiar with? And most likely, if you don't have about 80% of those things, it's going to be a real struggle finding a job as a developer in the Philippines or elsewhere in the global world. So our goal is to help you get educated on as much of these keywords and technologies as possible, with the goal that by the end of the training, you're going to become a self-sufficient developer, which in my definition means you can create whatever you can think of. And that's a high bar. Can you really create anything you can think of after just going through a few months of training? I think the answer is absolutely yes. But only if you put in a lot of time. So if you have a CS degree, you might be able to finish all the milestones and assignments working 50, maybe 55 hours a week. If you don't have a CS degree, you may need to put in 70, 80 hours a week in the beginning, because the beginning part is really important. So you may need to do that for a month, maybe 2 months, maybe even all the way up to the 3 months. Once you master these fundamentals, things become easier and easier because it becomes part of you. But if this is not part of you yet, to think like a computer, this training program, if you put in your time, will help you get there a lot faster than you doing that on your own. Anyway, I've spoken quite a bit about Village 88. I hope I didn't scare you. I spent so much time trying to tweak and refine the training curriculum with the goal that this will save you hours and hours of time. What took me over 10 years to learn, I'm really trying to boil it down so that you can learn that in a few months. Most developers would spend months, maybe even years, learning something that we will be covering in a single week. So to get the best and to get the most out of this course, please stay focused, put in a lot of time, get to know your group members and help each other out, because one of the best way to learn is by helping others and verbalizing what you have learned. So I'll share some of those tips a little bit later on. But anyway, I wanted to welcome you to this training. The way that our training works is I'm going to have some intro videos like this where I can communicate to you so you can get to know me, understand our intent. But after you watch the video, always scroll down below the text because I will have some additional information, some of which I may not have covered in the video. But anyway, welcome to Village 88. We're glad to have you. Put in a lot of time, and if you do, this might be 3 months that you would learn tremendously, and you will be so happy that you were part of this training program. Anyway, welcome again.